Welcome back to TCM. I'm here with my colleague, Professor Patrick Jagoda, here at the University of Chicago. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you.
So you direct the space that we're in here, the Weston Game Lab. And I wonder if you could talk a bit about some of the relationships between games and movies. We're watching films that have themes of games, but there are lots of ways to think about the relation between cinema and games.
I mean, so much has happened in the last few years, especially with video games and films, right? Like video games are a visual form of storytelling. They have deep narratives. You have video games like God of War, Red Dead Redemption, Uncharted, huge games that are described as cinematic, that have cutscenes, that feel like interactive films. And so the similarities have grown over time.
I think Spike Lee also designed a game at one point that involved Nikes or Air Jordans, that there are also directors who get involved, people we think of as film directors who get involved in creating narratives for games.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the film that we're about to watch, The Cincinnati Kid from 1965, is probably the most game-focused of the films that we're watching as a part of this lineup of films featuring games. It is a film about an up-and-coming poker player played by Steve McQueen, and he runs up against a master played by Edward G. Robinson for a very high-stakes poker game. This is a film that actually has a lot of different games represented, even though poker is the main one that we see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have everything from solitaire to cockfighting being mentioned across the span of the film.
You know, there are a lot of films that are about games that are sports. Cockfighting, though,
Yeah.
also is something that we could think about as a kind of game. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's actually like a huge case in play studies. And so the anthropologist Clifford Geertz had this idea of deep play. And the idea of deep play was sometimes people get into games to an irrational degree. So Balinese cockfighting is an example of this, where people would bring their roosters and almost always lose. They would lose financially, they would lose prestige, and yet they did it because that game was a part of the story that they told themselves about themselves.
It's interesting to think about how games and the ability to play games well can be such a huge component of how you think about yourself as a winner or a loser.
It's so emotional, right? I mean, the idea even of being a sore loser or an appropriate winner.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to watch the film and then you'll be back to talk with us about it. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you.
Let's take a look from 1965. Here's Steve McQueen and Edward G. Robinson in The Cincinnati Kid. Back with me to discuss The Cincinnati Kid is my colleague, Professor Patrick Jagoda. So, Patrick, the way that poker is represented in this film, it's like the Olympic Games. I mean, there is so much intensity and skill involved, skills that we can't even really see, actually.
Yeah, I mean, poker is very different from a lot of games because the best hand doesn't always win, as we know, right? You seem to have a better hand than I do over here, but bluffing enters into this, right?
Yes.
And so the control of your face and your emotions becomes so critical to winning a hand. So this makes it incredibly different from other games.
Yeah, not having a tell, I guess, is what that is called. So it always surprises me at the end of this film when Edward G. Robinson wins because he actually has the better hand.
Yeah.
So what is it that's being played there? I guess it's the Cincinnati Kid's ability to read whether or not he's bluffing, right?
Right, and a big part of that is also the context, how long the game has gone on for. And poker games go on for incredibly long amounts of time. I mean, there was once a poker game in the 1880s that went on for almost 8.5 years, allegedly, with different players coming in and out. The longest poker game in history, allegedly, was about 14 years, according to the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh my gosh.
So, but even in the film, right, this is a game that takes place overnight. They have to have a nap in the middle of it.
Yeah, the dealers need to change because they get tired. It's a marathon experience. And partly what we're seeing is it's a game of stamina. that the older player can get tired, and that might give an edge to the younger player. But as it turns out, that's not the case.
Yeah, psychology really enters into it, and they get into each other's heads as the game goes on.
Can we talk about Anne Margaret's character for a moment? Because when we meet her, she's shaving down some puzzle pieces. The idea of cheating is also something that figures into this film in an important way.
I mean, she even says that she cheats in solitaire when she's not playing against other players. Yeah, cheating can be a big part of this, even with shuffling, right? That enters into it as well. And so if you're trying to get a fair game, shuffling should be about randomness. But in many cases, if you're a magician or if you're trying to win a game unfairly, shuffling can also be about the exact control of getting a card exactly where you want it to go.
Yes. Carl Malden's character, Shooter, says something like, well, I can get you the cards. You know what a great technician I am. So that ability, all the attention to the shuffling and the dealing, the materiality of the cards, there's a real sleight of hand that becomes possible.
Yeah, I mean, a deck can be like an instrument in many ways. Magicians in particular practice this for years and years and years to get specific techniques and styles, too. There's a flair to it.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for talking about this film and for hosting us here at the Weston Game Lab at the University of Chicago.
Of course, it's great to have you here.
Well, stay right here because coming up next, we have a film featuring Albert Finney as a bingo caller who fantasizes about being a gumshoe.
Next on TCM, Gumshoe, then The Last of Sheila, and later, After the Thin Man. TCM is counting calories tonight.